Great Rising. Wengapo, everyone. Well, hello, and welcome to my new YouTube channel. My name is Davita Carter, and I am an American Indian. I am Anayawiya and Creek on maternal side, and I am Yamasee, Seminole, and Arawak Bayesian on my paternal side. So that makes me an American Indian. And this live, I got together some information, and I was hoping I could screen share, but unfortunately, I don't. I'm not too. I'm not too good with this as of yet, but I'm learning. So, I want to talk about how our ancestors were misclassified. And I'm going to start with my family tree. My mother, Miss Carolyn Smith, was born in Philadelphia. And my father, Gerald Pilgrim, was also born in Philadelphia. My mother's mother, my maternal grandmother's name is Irene Fauntleroy Smith Mumford, and she was born in Virginia in 1914. My mother's father was named Robert Harris, and he was born in Georgia in 1919, and he passed away in 1980. My maternal grandmother, Irene, she passed away in 2004. Okay, now we're going down to my father's mother, who's still living. Her name is Audrey Calhoun, and she was born August 22nd, 1929, in St. Augustine, Florida. She was born to an Irish white father and a Seminole black mother. Her father's name was Kenneth Calhoun Jr., and he was born in 1905 in Florida, and he died in 1976 in Philadelphia. And his first wife, which was my paternal great-grandmother, Ethel Calhoun, was born 1904 in Florida, and she died in 1934 when my grandmother was 4 years old from tuberculosis. They didn't have a cure for that then, my grandma tells me. And my grandma will be 90 years old on the 22nd of this month. Then we get down to my grandmother I was just talking about. The first census records I've seen of her, she was 4 or 5 years old, and she was listed as a mulatto. Now, they classified a lot of Indians in Virginia as mulatto. You know, some of them did have mixed ancestry, and I know that my grandmother, my grandmother's mother was of mixed Indian and Irish ancestry. Now, my great-grandmother, my maternal great-grandmother, her name was Irene Fauntleroy as well. My grandmother was her namesake. Now, Irene Fauntleroy Sr. was born in 1879 in Kings and Queens County, Virginia. And she was married to William Payne Fauntleroy, who was born 1862 in Virginia. Grandma's mom was listed as mulatto, and I just seen another record today that said her race was multiple, whatever that means. they were from the Richmond Lee Ward area of Virginia. Um, there are a few Indian tribes from that area. I have found that some Cherokees migrated there and they married into some Powhatans and Pamunkey tribes. There was also the Tuscarora and a few other Algonquin, I believe, tribes in Virginia. Now, my paternal great-grandfather, Kenneth Calhoun Jr., the one I just spoke of, now he was white and Irish, but I pulled up on the census records, and I have pictures to prove it, where he was listed as a Negro. Now, everybody in my family know that that great-grandpop Calhoun was white. But because he had children with an Aborigine, and then after she died, married another Georgia Aborigine that helped him raise his family, my step-great-grandmom. But I have pictures and also the record where he was listed as a Negro. And even though they were mixed, my grandmother and her two sisters, they were listed as Negroes as well on the census. I'm sorry, it's the car going by with the music. Okay, now we're going to go down to my maternal fifth great aunt named Eliza Fauntleroy, and she was born in 1860, Lancaster County, Virginia. Now, she was listed from birth, and everyone in her family, except for two, was listed as mulatto, and the other two was listed as Negroes. They came from the same mother and father. Then later on, she was changed from mulatto to Negro to black. And then also I found the record on Eliza. That census record had an I on it. Then they tried to make the I into a B, crossed it out, then wrote a lighter B right next to it for black. Now this is what they was doing to our people. Now my other paternal great-grandfather, my father's grandfather, he was from Barbados. And I have a record listing him as West Indian Native American. And that was on his shipping manifest. But later records, when he immigrated to the U.S., his military records was changed to colored. Census records was changed to Negro. He was the first postal clerk that was a man of color in Philadelphia, and I'm proud to say that. A lot of my family members were listed on the census as farmers. They had land. They were farmers. Seamstresses. My great-grandfather from Florida, he was listed as a chauffeur, and my grandmother tells me he was the chauffeur for the mayor of St. Augustine, Florida. So it's a lot of history here. It's a lot of history. Now, people that don't believe that our folks were misclassified, I'm going to have to show some proof when I can show the screen share or either attach it. But I wanted to explain a little bit about the definition of civiliter mortus, and that's Latin, and it means a civil death. The etymology dictionary of civiliter mortus means is the loss of all or almost all civil rights by a person due to a conviction for a felony or due to an act by the government of a country that results in the loss of civil rights. And that's going to bring us to why we're misclassified, because Indians have treaties. And in those nations, there were treaties drawn up with our people. But to steal the land, they had to misclassify and reclassify our folks from Indian to mulatto to colored, Negro, and black. And now African American. Now I refuse that. I've changed my ID. I've changed my medical records since I've done my genealogy. I have nothing against Africans, and if I find an African or two in my tree, I will embrace them and embrace them as my ancestors. But as of yet, I'm in the 1600s on my mother's father's line, and I'm in the 17 and 1800s on all other lines. So I'm actually up to my 9th great-grandparents on my mother's father's side. So we can't just be quick to take on these misnomers, because they are labeling us a dead entity. Okay? Civiliter mortus, that's black. The black status they gave us when they came here. They switched places with us. We were the landlords and the owners, and they switched places with us. Now, the etymology definition of civiliter mortus, as I said, means a civil death. So that means in the eyes of the law, black people are dead. I'm not dead. I'm alive and well. Okay? Now, the Merriam-Webster's definition just said, and this is since 1828, that civiliter mortus means civilly dead. That's what I just said, the etymology said. Now, Black Law's Dictionary says civilly dead, dead in the view of the law, the condition of one who has lost his civil rights and capabilities and is accounted dead in the law. Now, they committed genocide on our ancestors, our American Indian ancestors. They committed paper genocide with Walter Plecker in Virginia. And that's where, my maternal side is from, Virginia. He did a number on our folks, y'all. He did a number on our folks. So, in 1964, they came up with the Civil Rights Act, and President Lyndon B. Johnson, on July 2nd, 1964, a landmark civil rights and labor law, outlaws discrimination on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. So, when they gave us the black status, that status means you're dead, and they took all our civil rights. So our ancestors were fighting for civil rights in the 60s. There was so much going on at that time. And I'm sorry, but I don't remember seeing any other people but our people marching in Selma, marching for civil rights. I don't remember any other people rioting when Martin Luther King Jr. was murdered and assassinated. Martin Luther King Jr. tried to tell us that we were in a burning house and how we were slaves in our own land. Also, Malcolm X, he as well told us we are Aborigines, but we don't like to be called Aborigines. They were called colored and Negroes back then, but they were the American Indians. When he was murdered, this country erupted into riots in every major city in the United States. Erupted. So they came up with the 1968 Fair Housing Act, Public Law 90-284, signed after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. And that was to try to give us back some more of our civil rights that was taken from us because our status was changed. You know, I cannot acquiesce to anyone calling me black or African American, knowing what I know and what my ancestors been through and the misclassifications that they've been through as well. It takes critical thinking and a lot of hard work and research, determination, and you have to do your due diligence. And I'm not talking about ancestry DNA. No. I'm talking about straight paperwork of genealogy, birth records, marriage records and licenses, death records, census records, military records, things of that sort. Also, you could track where your folks had land titles and taxes, and it's ways that you could track your folks and know where they lived, what jobs they had, what they were classified as, if their classification changed. All skin folks are not kin folks, y'all. Just because we may share the same hue does not mean that we are kin folks. Well, hopefully by the next live, I will be able to screen share. I will upload on my Facebook when I share this video. I will upload some of the documentation, I promise. I'm sorry and I apologize, guys, because my laptop is broken right now and I'm on my iPhone on a mobile device, so I had no way to screen share. Maybe I can just get some of these records copied and show y'all next time. But either way, I'm going to show you guys. So I want y'all to have a wonderful day, and thanks for taking your time out with me this evening. I want y'all to enjoy y'all evening. Love, peace, and light. Peace, everybody.